Business Takeout presents
The CockTale Hour with L.A. Wade.
I love my theme song. What's up, everybody? It's your girl. This is L.A. Wade, a.k.a. Cocktails with L.A. And I am here. Look who is beside me. Look who is beside me. It is the top model, supermodel, America's Next Top Model, Canada's Next Top Model, Canada's Drag Race, the queen of the runway, Stacey McKenzie. But I'm going to talk to her in a second. I want to give a shout out to Business Takeout that presents the CockTale Hour. And we are really striving to empower Black wealth and Black entrepreneurship right here in the CockTale Hour. We have sobering and intimate conversations because we're not really drinking. We're talking to tings them. And so it's really great to have you here. But before we get started, let's get a word from our sponsor, Banky Designs. Run that. Amazing. Banky Designs is awesome. Banky Benjamin is amazing. And so are you, Stacey McKenzie.
Oh, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
It's such a big honor. Thank you.
Oh, it's the best birthday gift I could have ever gotten.
Oh, yes. It's your birthday.
It's my birthday.
Happy birthday to you.
Oh, yeah.
Happy birthday to Ellie.
Oh my God. Listen, you have no voice. And you know what? It's so you. You have always embraced who you are.
Yes.
And this is what I appreciate about you.
Actually, no, not really.
Oh, tell.
Mm-hmm. I
That's a good segue because I always wanted to understand where you were when you started.
Yeah.
How you got to this place in your life right now.
Yeah. No. So I never always embraced who I was, what I look like and what I sound like, because growing up, I was always being told that I'm not your typical Black girl. I don't have, my voice is like a manly voice, they will say, and I sound like a man and all of that. And it used to really, it affected me deeply and greatly throughout my entire childhood, as well as throughout my adulthood, the majority of my adulthood as well.
Wow.
So it took me some time.
Yeah, it sounds like it would have been painful, but knowing where you've come to in this stage of your life is kind of like, somehow that became background noise and you became who you want. How did you go through that process?
So what happened was I tried to conform to fit in, and that wasn't working. No matter how much I tried to change my looks, I couldn't change my voice. I was still, I still had my dope voice. But I tried to change my looks, my hair, my skin color, my freckles, even my lips. I don't know where I'm going with even my lips.
Those beautiful lips.
So I try to change my looks in order to fit in. And every time I will go back to see people, they'll laugh at me and be like, "You're the same girl that keeps coming here. We're not interested." And it was that clicked for me. You're the same person. You're the same girl, right? You're that different looking girl. You're that weird looking girl. So I was like, you know what? Yeah. This is who I am. So I'm going to have to embrace who I am. I'm going to have to accept and love and own who I am and work with what I got. And it was from then on, I was just like, all right, this is what I'm working with. This is my looks. This is my voice, right? If people don't get it, that's their business.
That sounds like a personal problem.
Like, if people get it, then great. I will love them too, right? But, and that's the way of like, that was how I was able to embrace myself and be able to like go after my dreams and goals in life with a more self-assured, confident, strong sense of self attitude.
Yeah, attitude. And the modeling world is filled with attitude.
Mad attitude.
Listen, the red carpet taught me a lot.
Doesn't it?
But you really do have to own it.
Yeah, you do. And I mean, like, and I also think like the most important thing is there's two important things, factors to it. You have to own who you are, and you also have to, actually love your craft, love what you do. Because if you don't love what you do, right, then it's not going to come off,
Yeah,
naturally that, this is where you belong. You feel comfortable here. You're not going to look comfortable. You're not going to sound comfortable. You're not going to feel comfortable. And it's
exactly.
going to show, right? So if you really truly love who you are, right, and also love and enjoy what you do, trust and believe, nothing can stop that.
I
Only God alone can stop that. Only two things can stop that. Most High God and you.
Actually, you said, I have one of my quotes. Let me just get to it. It says, "You are the only one that can prevent your dream from happening." You say that,
Yeah, I did say that. Yep. Yeah, man, I did say that.
and
Yeah,
clearly it's
man.
something that you live by.
Yeah, well, yes. Oh, for sure. Like, well, first of all, and I would say this first. I will adjust that a little bit as well. There's two people. There's two. I think things that could happen to make you, to that could, hold on. Let me say it again. I do believe that the Most High God, right, He leads you,
Yeah,
right? If you allow Him to, He will lead you and bring you to where you're supposed to be, what is meant for you, what is His will for you,
yes,
right? So
yes,
that's number one. Then number two, now, if He's leading you and then you're not following, right, and you're doing your own thing, right, you could deter your will,
right,
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 your purpose on this earth, right, because of your actions.
right.
So yes.
Yeah, you can pull
Yep.
yourself off the
Oh
path.
yeah, big time, big time.
Definitely. And that's the part of the free will that people don't get.
No,
Um,
I don't get that.
Things that really kind of came to me as you were talking, and it's um, when you were saying that you have to embrace yourself. When I
Mhm.
was younger, I had chicken pox at a very young age, and then I had really bad acne. So I had so much scarring, and it used to make me feel so unattractive. There
Mhm.
were members of my family that pointed that out to me. How people are in
Mhm.
black families that
Oh,
like
no, but don't know you don't know already. No.
this, right? And
Yeah.
you're just like, because I don't beat up myself enough about it. Thanks
Mhm.
for pointing it out to me.
Yeah.
But as you grow into who you are, and you can pay for your own facials, and you can do certain things, you can start,
Yeah.
and then seeing you become a model, um, it really, and when you started to really like own it, and because you weren't like everybody else, you gave so many of us that felt a little bit of an uncomfortable and insecurity in us,
Mhm.
this confidence that, you know what, she's rocking it, I'm gonna rock it too. When they talk about rocking the runway, it's like you can take on another persona, but really I wasn't taking on another persona. I was embracing my what they would consider my the deficits in who I look like and what I am, and actually just using that to my advantage.
Mhm.
And the second thing I was going to say is that when I first met you, we were at an art gallery exhibit, to raise money for Canadian Olympic athletes. And I was like,
Ah, yes. No,
I was
yes.
like touching my ex-husband, like, yo, that's Stacey McKenzie. That's like that model girl. And it was a small, intimate event, so it allowed me to actually sit and interact with you.
Mhm.
Now, what I remember the most about that is that I was still in that phase of trying to believe in myself, still just becoming. And it's like you looked past the insecurities and spoke life into what
Oh,
I didn't
really?
even remember about myself.
Oh,
And
that's awesome.
and I carried, and
That's awesome. Right.
that was probably a good 12, 14 years ago now.
Wow.
So that's
And
crazy.
you remember that? Wow.
And anytime I've seen you
Yes.
on TV or doing anything, I felt that sense of pride in that girl who everyone can see saw me.
Oh, wow.
And
Wow.
so thank you, Stacey
Oh,
McKenzie.
wow,
Not
LA.
only what you did
Wow.
with me, but what you've done to so many women. Because I know one of the words that I was going to drop on you to talk about was called walk camp.
Ah,
And what does that mean for you when I say that word to you?
when you say the walk camp, for me, it means so much. It means like, I'm able to somehow give back in, even if it's a small way, to our youths, our young Black girls, right?
And
The
it's important that you say Black girls, and there's a
No,
reason.
no, it is. It is very important. You know, to get back to our young Black girls, and especially, I mean, I think all our young Black girls need that support, but also, you know, in a certain type of neighborhood, because I come from those neighborhoods that a lot of the girls that I choose come from. I come from the hood. We call it, you know, the hood or the ghetto or whatever they want to call it. But that's where, you know, I came from as well. So I know what it feels like to be, you know, one of those young girls, you know what I'm saying, in the hood who has dreams and think that it won't be possible. So when you say the word came to me, it really means a lot to me because I really do feel that the Most High God put me in the position that He put me in to become this model, to become this TV personality, to become this coach, to become this person in this world where it's not for me to keep for myself. It's for me to share and share with those young Black girls, my little girls. I don't have any children yet, but I feel like they're
Even
my
the older
children,
Black girls. Even
right?
the older Black girls.
So it really means a lot to me, and it makes me feel like, yeah, this is what it's about. This is what it's for.
Yes.
Yeah. Sorry.
But it's okay. It is emotional because so much of us Black girls come from so much pain
Yeah.
and experiences of loving ourselves, of embracing ourselves.
Yeah.
And just know that you kind of led the way through your own
Oh,
pain
wow.
in helping us do that.
That's really a big blessing to like be thinking, to be told that it's really and truly a blessing. Like,
Thank you. Thank you.
you know, an honor to be looked at in that light is really an honor.
It is. And one that you should embrace fully because that's your gift. When they talk about nothing that you put out there comes back to you void,
Mhm.
And you don't even understand the reach. You're here living your life. I haven't seen you in 14 years.
I
I'm telling you finally it came.
By the way, you look amazing.
Oh,
By
thank
the
you.
way.
This is what confidence does.
Yes, I see. You know what? Can I say though? I do see the difference big time.
Yeah.
You are definitely more happy within yourself,
Yes.
and it shows.
Thank
Like I don't know, even though we don't know each other personally like that,
Yeah.
I could see it. It's a big difference.
Yes.
And
Thank
that's
you.
awesome. You know what I'm saying? That's
It
awesome.
is. Thank you. So, and that's what we both want for a lot of these young people coming up.
Yes.
This platform is about Black entrepreneurship. It's about establishing Black wealth. And you've been able to do so much with your career. And giving back through Walk Camp has been, you know, it's our tithing in the way that
Yeah, you know, yeah.
So tithing is not just about the money you give to things, although I'm sure we both give money in those ways.
Yeah.
But it's the energy and love that we give back to our community.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like
Yeah.
giving is, yeah, exactly. And what you put out, you'll get back in return. So
Exactly.
you know, yeah.
So you have these titles: top model, speaker, coach. If you could only choose one, which one of those roles would be most?
Oh my gosh, that's a good one. That's a good one.
Yeah, right.
Oh gosh, LA. I'm even looking at the names like top model, motivational. I don't know which one to choose. Can I choose all three of them?
Well, I think that in a way, all three of them is one. It's like the Trinity.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
the
right.
Trinity of Stacey.
Yeah, I don't know. Honestly, I don't. You know what? I think I would choose, to be honest,
Yeah.
motivation, like speaker.
Yeah, the speaker, because it allows you to capture all of it.
Yeah, because like if I were to, I think I would choose a speaker because I think it's like, especially when when I do my workshops with both the models and when I do my camp, you know, I do a lot of speaking to the girls, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's really important because like modeling is great, right? Yes, but the thing is, we don't have a voice when we're on the runway or when we're in front of the camera. Our body language speaks for us, but we can't open our mouth and speak and really express what's going on with us and and what and what we would like to put out there. We can't express that on the runway or in magazines unless it's been written, right? So I think that when you speak, right, and people hear your voice, like it could touch them in a way where it's like, you see, like what you said earlier, that when you met me and I
Yeah,
spoke with you and that stayed with you for however long, you see that, like that's a,
that's
so, so if I were to maybe like, I mean, I love all three, but I would say
yes.
speaker, because speaker, like that's more connecting with the person, like really connecting with people.
Yeah, and it has more agency. I love photography. I love film and all of that stuff.
Mhm.
I read a book called What Do Pictures Want?
Oh, okay.
And what it's talking about is how sometimes when you see a woman, especially in a picture,
Mm-hmm.
the way that you can objectify that woman, but with the
Mm-hmm.
right photographer and the right model, that person can also become a subject, which means they have agency. So even though they're not talking in the picture, how
Mhm.
they present themselves in the
Mhm.
picture, you can still hear their voice through how they
Right.
present themselves. And
Right.
this is what I see in some of the most vibrant pictures that you take.
Right.
You can't just objectify Stacey McKenzie because she is still going to be in that picture.
Right.
Your voice
Yeah,
is
it
still,
ain't gonna happen. I
right?
can't hide.
Which leads me to the question about, can you talk about modeling as a form of storytelling?
What do you mean? What do you mean?
So like when you
That's a good question, though. Yeah.
like when you're going to take a picture, or if you get a chance to construct what a photo shoot is going to be like, do you think of it as a way of telling a story with your body, with your angles, with the makeup, with the clothing, with the backdrop?
It is a story.
It's a story,
No,
right?
definitely a story. Oh yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, for sure.
How do you interpret that story that you want
What
to bring to anyone that you've done before? Which one stands out for you?
That's a good one. Okay, so good questions.
Yeah.
How I interpret a story. So let's say if I'm like, let's say when I get booked for editorial, right? And you know, I get there, so I don't see the clothing beforehand. A lot
Right.
of times it's when we get on set, that's when I see the clothing.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, you don't see the clothing beforehand. It's usually when you do runway, that's when you see the clothing beforehand because we have to do a fitting for the clothing.
Right.
But when it comes to editorials, when we arrive on set, that's when we're going to see the actual editorial. Now, what will happen before though? Like my agent will tell me, like, well, the story is about the story. The concept is not the story, but the story. The
Yeah.
concept is it's about life in the forest and what it's like for this beautiful fragile girl that's like living in the forest or something like that. I'm just
Yeah.
making up something.
Yeah.
So what I do is when I get there and I put on my outfit, whatever, like the first outfit or whatever, my outfits, I literally envision myself living in the forest, right? But being one of them like fly chicks living in the forest and like, able to cook my
That's your
food
voice. That's what I
and
mean.
look cute. Like so
Yes.
I actually like envision myself, like I picture myself, I picture myself in that setting.
Mm,
And then it's like it's like I become that character.
right.
I literally become that character where it's like, okay, I'm not Stacy now, right? I'm
Right.
I'm Michelle. No, maybe not Michelle. I'm Maybelle. That was the first name that came into my head for some reason.
Okay.
I'm Maybelle.
People who lives in the forest.
That's this like really gorgeous girl, right? That lives in the forest, or that she was left alone in the forest, whatever. And she was, at first she was sad about it, but then she just somehow like, owned it and just decided, well, this is my life now. So I'm just gonna have to be this fabulousness in the forest by myself, right? I gotta make it work. And
Yeah.
I become that character. So I like envision how I would be that girl and how I would live in the forest. And I would emulate that character, like, my facial expressions, like by way of posing as well, right? Like, maybe sitting in the forest one day after, like while I'm cooking and like thinking, like daydreaming about, being back in the city again and what that would look like.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah. So I think about the character
Yeah.
and I try to become that character, like mentally and then physically.
Yeah. It
Yeah.
makes me think of when you're telling me that particular story, it made me think about when you said you're from the ghetto. That
From the hood.
the hood.
Woods.
You had to transport yourself from the ghetto, the hood, to the runways in Milan and all of these really, what you would consider these high-end spaces.
Yeah.
And so this story of the woman in the forest, it
Right.
came like that is really what happened. You were taken out of one location and transported to somewhere else where you got to
Right.
live it out.
Right.
Yeah. So
But I still had the little, ghetto hood
good.
girl
In
chicken
the
still no
forest.
matter what.
Yes, this is exactly the agency.
Yeah, I don't let that go. I don't forget where I come from. I always make sure to remind myself because
That's
listen,
it.
LA, just as easily as you can be transported and brought to another place that maybe a better situation for you.
Yeah.
You could be easily taken back to where you came from.
You're real.
So the thing is, I make sure that I don't forget where I come from. I don't forget what it took for my mom to get us to where we're at, to get me to where I'm at today. Right? Right. I don't forget the struggles. I don't forget the trials. Right. And also to even being in the industry and, even when became this big person in the industry, right? I still have struggles and trials that people would never have a clue about.
Right.
Right. I still had a lot of ups and downs and challenges and obstacles. Right. And still had to be that supermodel Stacey McKenzie.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
And so, yes, you know what that leads me to want to ask you. You did this amazing, I guess, campaign for Mercedes-Benz.
Yeah, she's Mercedes.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. What? And the question that I heard that stood out to me in that campaign was, what is the story you are telling yourself? So, what is the story that Stacey told herself when she was in the hood versus where she stands today? How has the story changed?
Oh wow, that's a good question. Damn, you're good. You're making me go deep, but I can't even go that deep. Like
it's okay, we don't have enough time.
I gotta save some of this. So what was the story that I told myself then?
Yeah, versus
The
now.
story that I told myself then was I am going to pursue my dreams and goals despite what anybody thinks of me. Right? I'm going to go for this. I'm going to go for this modeling thing.
Yes.
Right? And and I'm gonna make it. Listen, let me tell you, LA, you know what I used to do in high school? I used to go in the hallway and sit down in the hallway and just be like engulfing myself in Vogue magazines. I used to take my lunch money and buy Vogue magazine and Harper's Bazaar magazine and Elle magazine and sit there. And I'm like, I'm gonna be here one day. I'm gonna do this. I'm going to do this. And youths used to walk by and be laughing at me, literally laughing.
Of course, they
Like,
don't see it.
look at the idiot. She thinks she's gonna be a model. She could never be a model. She an idiot. She could never be a model, right? And I'm like sitting there going, "Oh, okay." And I would literally say to people, "Watch and see. Watch. I bet you any money I want to be a model. Watch and see. Watch." Right? So that was my younger, like my then self. I was like, "Yeah, I am going to be a model. I'm going to be a successful model. I don't know how, right? If it's the Most High God's will, I'm like, Lord, God help me. May I beg you? May I beg you? If you do this for me, me give all of the money for me. Like I do anything for you. So that was my then self.
Your old story, okay.
My now self, I'm like, I'm doing a lot of thanking. I'm thanking the Most High God, of course. First of all, I'm thanking my mom. I'm thanking everybody that has supported me, been there for me through the ups and the downs, especially through the down times.
Right.
Especially because that's when you know who your true friends are, right? And that's when you know who really means you well,
Yeah.
right? So I'm doing a lot of thanking and I'm doing a lot of praising to have gone through what I've gone through, because then now I'm able to work with my little young children, them where I know, I'm my blood children, them I feel like I might pick them, I might children them.
Right? Yeah,
Right.
it's funny because one of the words I was going to ask you about was mothering, because I see you as like an other mother.
I want to be a mom so bad.
Oh, wow.
I've always wanted to be a mom. I don't know, but you know what? The Most High God, He knows what He's doing, and I'm waiting on Him. So.
Yes,
But
that resonates with a lot of Black women having those.
Let me tell you, like, it's funny because people say to me, "Oh, you don't want to be a model because you don't want to lose your shape and all of that, or whatever." And I will say this, I wanted to wait, yes, when I was younger because I was told to wait. I
Right.
was told that's the right thing to do, right? To wait, right? And like, do your career and be career oriented first. I was told that. So it was embedded in me at first. But then I was like, nah, man, like every time I see a baby or a youth, I'm like, I turn stupid. like Ellie, I literally have my outfits picked out for my children, okay?
Oh my God.
Yes. I literally have like their wardrobe.
Oh man. Well, I mean, in a way,
Sorry for them.
children.
Because they now have no dolly. Them are gonna be my dolly, the girls them, and the boy them are gonna be my mannequin. Like I feel sorry for them.
My God. But like, I was just saying that, like, the walk camp, the people who come through there, in a way, have become those children that you have.
Listen, they're my children, and
There.
it's funny because I didn't want to. I was never talking like that. I was thinking like that.
Mm-hmm.
But then their mother, the parents, the mothers and the fathers, they would literally say, Auntie Stacey, you're their mother. You know that, right? You're
Totally
you're
their
the second
mother.
mother. And I'm like, you consider me their second, because I was thinking it, but I didn't want to say it out loud.
Girl,
And
you're definitely a mother.
they're like, no, you're their second mother. They're like, you're my daughter's second mother, okay?
You're that friend.
Right?
You're the mother to your
I
friend.
was like, really? I'm like,
I
oh.
can see that.
I love it. I love them so much, and it's so hard. Like, because I usually choose between 20 to 30 of them every year,
Yes.
and I bring back some of them from the old camps or whatever to like make them grow in the camp. But it's a lot to keep up with all of them. But like I try to keep up with all of them. But it's been like 10 years, like 7 years in Canada and 3 years in Jamaica now.
Oh wow! Praise God.
But I'm focusing on it in Jamaica because I think it's really like, that's where I come from. That's my home to begin with.
Yes. You're finding purpose there.
You know what? I find it everywhere, but I feel like I need to really build up my youths in Jamaica first, because it's in a foreign, they have way more opportunities in foreign, right?
Exactly.
They have way more opportunities here in foreign, but there they don't, right?
So
you know what I'm saying? So it's really important to build them up, to help them out first or whatever, deal with them, and of course continue to deal with them, yes, but to work on them first. So
I like that. Well, in regards to modeling, since this is for Black entrepreneurs, what is the difference between modeling and the model business?
Okay, so modeling, good questions again. I would say that modeling, like, is just you're doing it for fun, right? Because even me in the beginning of my career, I loved fashion so much, I didn't care about the money. I didn't care about anything else but just like being able to be on a runway or be in front of a camera, like doing editorials, doing commercials, whatever, like that. Like I didn't care about nothing else. Like I used to say, it's funny. I used to say, even my mom, she used to be like, "Oh, wrong with you? You're not getting a pay for this, or you don't get paid for this."
Right.
And I'm like, "Mom, it's okay because like this is a great job and a great opportunity, and I love it." And she's like this, "Oh, you love it, and when you reach like 30 and 40 and 50 and 60, and you're not no money for, you're not nothing really to fall back on, you don't have anything to fall back on. Like, what do you,
Exactly.
And for years, I was like doing it for fun, because I was just treating it as modeling, right? But when it comes to modeling as a business now, right? When I started treating it as a business, I realized, no, this is a business. This is not no little fun thing. This is an actual business. I have to work my butt off. Like I go to what, 10, 12 castings, like within a couple of days. No, during Fashion Week, I'll go to like 10 castings a day, and I'm not getting that one job, right? Yeah, no. Or like for editorials, I'll go see all these clients every day. I'm going to go see all these clients and these agents, these magazines, the publishers, the fashion photographers. Like there's all these different people that we have to see constantly, right? Plus we have to do like test photo shoot, whatever, to keep like like having fresh pictures. Plus I have to make sure that my skin is taken care of, my hair is taken care of, right? My mental health is taken care of. It's a lot of work. And I'm like, yeah, so that means I'm a business.
Yes,
so I need to treat myself first as a business and then treat what I do as a business. So that's when I was like, no, man, okay, all right. I need to refocus and regroup.
Was it that time that you started to put around you the right team and get the right people around you to
You know,
facilitate that?
that also, right? But can I tell you, I don't have a team like that.
Wow.
I didn't have a team like that.
Now.
Because listen, it's really hard to find um, more than one or two people that you could trust in this business,
Wow.
right?
That's
So
really
I have my agents, yes. I have my agents. I have like, my business manager, whatever, right? But in terms of like what, like a team, like what, stylists
yeah, and all that
or
kind of
whatever, I don't, I style myself,
nice.
right? But then there's some occasions where I would have a stylist, a specific
We'll
stylist,
hire
right? Yeah.
the event.
Yeah. But in terms of treating it as a business, like what I started doing was what opened up my eye to. One time I was living at a malls apartment in New York, and my roommate, she ended up being a big model during that time. She became like huge, like high fashion model during that time. And one day there was a phone call at the house phone. So I answered the phone, and it was the IRS calling for her.
Oh
So I
damn.
was like, what? So anyways, I give the phone to her, whatever. And when she came on the phone, she's like, oh my gosh, I have to pay, it was like $30,000 or $40,000 US. She had to pay within 1 week.
What?
Yes. And it was that because what we were doing at the time, our agents was telling us, at the time, oh no, it's fine. Like, you don't have to worry about your taxes or whatever, because we take your taxes, whatever. You just get we could have your taxes taken care of. That's what her agent, one of them, was telling her.
Yes.
And one of my agents was telling me the same thing too, right? She now was just sitting there chilling, thinking that her business was going to be taken care of, and her business wasn't taken care of. So that's how she learned the hard way. And I learned from that situation. I was like, oh, hell no.
That's not going to be me.
Okay, so I need to regroup, get it together, treat me as a business because I am a business, and treat the business as a business, right? So it's really important for you to focus on that. The pretty stuff will come after, right? Because you need to get the back stuff. You need to get the behind the scenes stuff on point first, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then and all that, and then you work on the pretty stuff after.
Then you work on the free, because you can't have the pretty stuff if you don't work on the other stuff, on the hard stuff.
Exactly.
Yes.
Excuse me. Exactly.
What has been the secret of longevity in your career? It's been like at least 25 or more years.
Yeah, it's like 25 years. It's gonna be 20. Actually, it's gonna be 25 years this year. Yeah.
Yeah.
The secret of longevity for me has been, and I think it should be for everybody as well too. It's very important to have a good relationship with everybody that you meet. Try your best, even if you don't get along with the person, no problem, because you're not going to get along with everybody. But the way how you handle that situation, right, will that person will come back again around in your life at some point. So I've learned very quickly that it's important to treat people how you want to be treated, right? And always make sure that you treat people right? And always make sure you do your job right. Have a great attitude, right? And just just do what you're supposed to do, but with the right attitude, because people talk.
People talk.
Like in my industry, even though it's a big industry, it's also a small set of people, a group of people, and they all know each other, and they all have been in like let's say a makeup artist used to be a makeup artist before she used to be a makeup artist, and she's an agent now. That's how small. Yeah. So there's people that's been that are like big time agents now that used to be a makeup artist, or used to be a stylist, or used to be a stylist assistant. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
It's like you never know who you're meeting, who you're working with, right? Even the people that you think might be the least or whatever, that you're working with,
right?
Or some little simple little job, right? No, take every job as a big job. Take every person that comes in your path as a big deal, because you never know when you're gonna buck up them same people again. You never know when you're gonna meet them same people again, right? And what position those same people are gonna be in. And what they could do for you in the future. I've
True.
I've experienced it numerous and hundreds of times
Wow.
where people that I worked with from like 20 years ago, all of a sudden is reaching out to me to book me like 20 years later.
Crazy.
They're like, oh, we worked with you like in 1997, and I'm working at so and so now, as a fashion stylist or as the editor of a magazine,
Right.
and because of how you were on that, when I worked with you, I was like, we need to find that girl Stacey. The amount of times it's happened, so
Yeah.
I think that is a big part of why I've had longevity in this industry, in my industry,
Mm-hmm.
right? But I also think that it goes for everybody. Everybody.
That's true.
There's a time when I was on my, like, numerous times, but there's a time when I was like not doing well, like financially, like no money's coming in, no work is coming in, so no money is coming in,
Right.
and I'm on my face. And it was like people that I worked with like how much years ago, or people that I met maybe like 2 times or 1 time.
Yes.
I go take a walk and buck them up on the street. They buck me up on the street. I didn't even remember them. They buck me up on the street, and they're like, "Yo, I worked with you like 10 years ago. You look amazing, whatever. What agency you with?" They take down the information. Next thing you know, I get booked for a job, and I'm getting paid.
Yeah. You're definitely, God's got his hand on you for sure from the very beginning.
I do believe that too, but I also believe too, it's that I definitely, for sure, he's been.
Yeah, and I mean,
me.
and that's why you act the way you act, because you know who you are, and you know who lives within you. So, and that's been true at least 14 years ago. So I know that to be true. I'm gonna give you one more word. We're gonna play one game and then one more question. 1.5 more questions.
Right.
And it's hard to choose which. Maybe you should choose the word.
No.
I'll choose the word? Okay, I'll choose the word. So, no, I don't want to choose the word. Okay, then I have to give you 2 words. So the first word is red lipstick.
Power.
I like
Power.
it. Okay, power. Okay.
Power, but also another thing came to my mind too. My voice. You're gonna hear me when I speak.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And you know why I put red lipstick is because I would look at a bunch of conversations and you always had red lipstick. And when you had that red lipstick, it's almost like you were putting on your cape. Because you speak from a different place.
Let me tell you the story. I don't know if you know. I don't know if you heard about the story of the red lipstick.
No, there's a story.
Okay, there's a story.
We need a story.
Yeah, there's a story. So the story is, when I was trying to change my looks or whatever to fit in and stuff.
Yes.
No, before I tried to change my looks to fit in. When I used to go see the agencies, they used to all like make fun of certain parts of my body, right? Like my face, not my body, but my face, and it was predominantly my lips, right? My lips were too big. They're too big. They're too big. And I'm like, I'm black. What do you expect? Right? Yeah, you that? Could you imagine me with a little midget like slits? Like, I'm black.
Right. Duh.
But anyway, so I try to change, right? I try to change my looks or whatever. I foundation my lips and like drew in a whole new lip. I look like an idiot. Drew in a whole new lip and the whole 9, right? Fine. And then, when I went back and they were saying, you're the same girl that keeps coming back or whatever. And I'm like, yeah, yeah, that's true. And no matter how much I try to change, I'm still that same state. I'm still Stacey. Oh. So I'm like, all right, cool. Okay. So I went to the mall. I went to Harbor Town Center.
Harbor Town Center.
Because it's funny too, because when I did the lipstick, whatever, I was like, I had a thing. All of a sudden, I like lipsticks, right? I was like, I like lipsticks, right? So I went to Harbor Town Center. I went to a store. I'm not gonna say which store, but you already know the store.
Yes.
I went to a particular makeup store, or whatever, and I'm like, give me the brightest red lipstick you have. They're like, what? How old are you? You're like 14 or something? I'm like, just give me the lipstick. And I was like, I want a red one, and I want the brightest one. I'm like, I don't want a dark red. I want like a bright red, in your face red, right? And you're like, okay. So I got the brightest red. I put on the red or whatever, and they were like, ooh, that looks good and all of that. I'm like, I know. My
I know.
It's the black lips. It does it. Yes, and the black lips, and the black lips.
Said that.
Anyhow, I started from this. I started wearing red lipstick. My reason for wearing the red lipstick is to pretty much say to everybody, yo, I'm my mouth this, I'm my big fat juicy lips this. Right? I'm gonna wear the brightest color on them lips, yeah. So everybody can see me from a mile away. And if you don't want to make fun of me, if you want to make fun after me, right, go on. Because I'm my mouth and my lips, and them beautiful, them fat and them sexy, and them sweet and them juicy. And this me a rock. Right? So get over it, like deal with it. I'm just not wear I would go to school every day. My mom didn't see me wearing red lipstick though. When I get to school, I put on red lipstick. And I just started rocking red lipstick every single day, like all the time.
I love that story. I love this story. And I can hear so much. Like, I get that from a lot of my Jamaican friends. Like, no matter what you can say about a Jamaican, you can't tell them that they're not the biggest and the baddest. And
right.
And that is so good, because when society is putting us down, you need that to come from somewhere. So your culture has definitely bigged you up as well.
Right. Listen, let me tell you, you said something too, Ellie. We as a people, Black people, we don't know who we are.
Yeah.
Right? Think about this. I want our people to really think about this. Why do you think they put us down and try to keep us down? There's a reason. Mm-hmm. Because of who we really are.
Right.
Okay? We're not a normal set of people. We are not a normal set of people, Black people. We are God's people, number one. We are the Most High God's people.
Yes.
And that's why they try to keep us down. Mm-hmm. That's why, if you notice, it's hard for us to prosper. Yeah. Right? I'll leave it at that.
That's really good. I don't even need to ask the next question. But what was it? I was gonna say something, but this was just such a great way to like summarize everything. I will leave one thing with us, because I wanted to make sure that the people who are watching heard this. And it's a quote. And you said, embracing my looks and voice played a major role in my journey to building my self-confidence. Mm-hmm. Falling in love with fashion took my confidence to the next level. Mm-hmm. That was something I had a love for, and I used it to express my individual style, mm-hmm. and showcase my talents, which helped me shape me to be the woman I am today. Mm-hmm. It's important for us women to first love our looks and personalities, then to explore ways of highlighting ourselves. Mm-hmm. What you said in the Mercedes-Benz campaign.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And I really want any female entrepreneur and any person who's an entrepreneur to hear what it is that you're really saying there. Mm-hmm. And I often wondered about, when you meet so many different people, and sometimes we want an opportunity so bad that we want to kind of morph into what you think the other person wants for you. Mm-hmm. But we got to somehow fight against that, mm-hmm. and still remain who we are in spite of whoever's in front of us.
Exactly.
Who in the industry really supported and loved you the most to allow you to do that gave you the biggest chances, that maintained your ability to do that? Do you remember some?
There's two people.
Tell me.
Yeah, Jean-Paul Gaultier, yes. And Todd Odlum.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Those two fashion designers. Like you're talking about people in the industry, right?
Yeah, people in the industry.
Jean-Paul Gaultier and Todd Odlum. Jean-Paul Gaultier was the first reason being, Jean-Paul Gaultier said to me when I did his first show, what happened is another story real quick.
Oh, no, take your time.
I went out on the runway and I saw somebody sitting in the front row, a guy that I was just like, oh, I'm in love with him. Oh. So while I was walking down the runway, I saw him and I literally lost it. And I walked off the runway and I went and I sat in his lap. Yeah. I was like, listen, I don't even know when am I ever going to see this man again. So I'm taking a chance now. Okay? So I walked off the runway. I went and I sat in his lap. And I hugged him up and I told him how much I think he was so amazing, so sexy and so hot. Despite I had a man. I was like, my husband is, I'm like, at the time, I'm like, my boyfriend is fine with this. He knows I love you off already. So he's okay. I can tell you this. Right. The show is still going on. Okay. Yes, I
Can't believe you did that.
yeah, I was walking down the runway, halfway down the runway, not even halfway. I looked and I saw a dude, and I just went.
Wow.
So after I finished talking to him and kissed him too. Yes, I kissed him. Yeah, I fully kissed him.
That lipstick.
Fully kissed him. I went back on the runway to finish the show, finish my vlog.
Yes.
So when I got backstage, Gautier was like, "Qu'est-ce qu'il like? What is that? What like?" He was like saying, "What was that? What was that? What the what was that?" So I thought he was upset because he was speaking in French at the time, and I didn't understand what he was saying. But to me, he looked like he was upset.
Right.
So I'm like, "Oh shoot, I'm going to get fired now." Yes, the one person that give me a chance, right? Big fashion designer. I'm gonna screw it up because I want to kiss. Okay, all right. So Gautier's like going on. Oh my gosh, what was that? What was that? So he comes over to he's like, "What was that, Stacey?" And I was like, I'm sorry, but that was Lenny Kravitz. I'm like,
What?
yeah, I was like, I'm sorry. I'm really sorry, Jean Paul, but Mr. Gautier, I'm really sorry, but I had to kiss him. I'm like, I had to go over there because that's Lenny Kravitz, man. Like, he started laughing.
Yes.
Gautier started laughing, and he's like, "Stacey, that was genial." Genial, he said. That was genial. It was like that was he was like that was not amazing. He said genial.
Yes.
Like, that was wow. I said, wow, genial. I was like, what does that mean? I know what wow means.
Yeah.
But he was like, that was great. That was great.
Yeah.
I was like, it was, right? And he's like, I'm not realizing again because I'm not thinking about it as a business at the time.
Right.
Me doing that was big press.
Yes. Big press.
The press was
bold and you took chances.
People were like dying because they're like, they cannot, like, I literally walked over to a celebrity of his stature and hugged him up and kissed him. Like, literally on the mouth. Like, I held his face. And I was like, and I was just giving it to me. What?
Oh my God.
I went in.
I hope you footage of that somewhere.
I went in.
What? And we can take it away from you.
I went in.
Love
So Gautier says to me, that was brilliant, right? So I'm like, really? You think so? And he's like, yes. He was like, listen. He's like, and this is what he said to me. He's like, listen, be yourself. He's like, because you know what? It works for you. He's like, what you did out there just now, that works for you. Not anybody could do that.
Exactly.
And make it look cool and fun and like and look like just like wow. Like he's like, people would think to do that, but would never do it.
Right.
But the fact that you did that and you did it so like natural, right? Right? He's like, it's brilliant. So when he told me that, he told me, he's like, listen, be yourself. He's like, if you're on the runway and you want to do something or whatever, do it because that's your thing. It works for you. Yeah. He's like, you could rock it and get away with it. Right. And from he told me that, that's when I started like being very theatrical on the runway. So if I'm on the runway and I see somebody, whatever, like I'll wave to them or I'll stop and be like, ooh, and I'll flirt with them or whatever. That's when I started doing that.
I love it.
He's the one that instilled that in me and gave me that. They gave me that to like work, to tell me to work with and instill that in me. And he always booked me after that. Todd Olim was another one as well too. Wow. Todd Olim, when people didn't want to book me from his camp, from his dream.
Yes.
Even though he's Todd Olim, he was like, no, he's like, no, she's gorgeous. And I think she's amazing. And I want her for my shows. And I don't care what any of y'all say. She's going to be my shows. Yeah. And to this day, that man always reaches out to me and he's always like supporting me and like, just telling me nothing but goodness. Right. And telling, and encouraging me. Right. So those two in the industry for sure.
Yeah. Co-signed. That co-signed you. Yeah. I can see seeing you a few weeks ago, receiving your BFBG awards. Thank you to Mystique for introducing and making it happen. The Life Achievement Award, being so young, just shows you how much of an impact you have made in this industry. Yeah. And so
it's really, truly a blessing. It was, wow.
Your whole life has been a blessing. And with all of that.
Thank you so much, Anne-Marie, too.
Oh, I love Anne-Marie.
Thank her so much for even just thinking of me and thinking of me in that light for them, for her and her team and everybody
Yes.
from the awards, to be thinking of me like that and highlighting me in that manner is just truly a humongous blessing. And
Yeah.
especially too, it's from my people.
This is it.
That really means a lot to me. It really means a lot to me.
Yes.
I'm not discriminating against other
No,
people.
of course
Right?
not.
Never will, of course. But when it comes from
No.
my people, you know what I'm saying? Because again, we are the Most High God's people, and what I want our people to know is that I want us to know who we are as a people. The importance of us knowing who we are as a people. There's a reason why we are kept down or being tried to kept down for a certain reason. And it's because we are the Most High God's chosen people. We are His people.
Yes.
You hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Do you notice that we are always the ones that are needed in order to build up everybody else?
Of course.
Every other nation needs us to build them up,
Right.
but we always have ourselves, and we're always like the ones building up ourselves
Yes.
because we're not normal. We're not a normal breed of people.
We're not normal.
We're
I know.
not, and we need to recognize that. Right? We don't need to follow no other. We don't need to follow no trend. We don't need to follow no other nations or whatever, and all of that. We need to recognize who we are as a people, and we need to embrace that, and we need to walk with our heads held high, right? Right? And know that we are royalty. We are kings and queens of this earth.
Yes. 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 All of that.
So Anne-Marie doing that. Sorry to cut you, but Anne-Marie putting on the, for the Black Fashion Beauty Gala Awards, and like giving back to her people, our people. It's very important, and it's very important for us as a people to come together as a people and work with one another, work with each other, and build. Do you remember when they had that in America when they had that community what they owned and the people and burn it down?
Yes. Yes.
Remember that?
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember? Do you know how powerful it was? How we as a people had our own place, like our own banks, our own everything. We had our own everything.
Yep.
Right.
We got to do it again.
No, we need to work together, and this is why I really even commend Anne-Marie too for doing this as well too, because I hope that when I hope that when everybody was there, you know what I'm saying, or when they were there, like they connect with one another, interact and give their information, exchange information, and try to build with each other.
Yes.
Right? Because we really need to do that as a people.
Yes.
We'll be a force. A force. We're not normal. Everything we touch on gold, more than gold, diamonds, rubies. Everything we touch. Anything we do. If you put on, look at you right now, LA, in that tank top, right? And your bra straps showing. You think anybody can wear that and make it look as good as how you make it look? No.
True. It's true. No. And this is the point of these conversations, because I want us to connect, and we don't talk to each other because we don't trust each other. And so actually this Wednesday I'm going to be doing a games night with this let me just pull it out. It's this thing called Convo and Chill. It's a game that allows me to have controversial conversations by asking different questions from the cards. So here's the cards, and it says things like silly things sometimes, but can you date potential, as an example? Would you do 3 years in prison for $10 million? But it's not just the questions. It's, would you do that? If you could only eat a food item for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Say it again.
If you could only eat one food item for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Mangoes. Jamaica. Mangoes.
But then, what happens we have to build trust from smaller spaces that are less intimidating, be able to talk about the larger issues, because you can talk about mangoes and then we talk about where it comes from. Then we talk about how we got there. Then we talk about what we're going to do about how we got there and what we want to do when we leave there. And so a little conversation can keep expanding. That's not something that we continue to do with one another. I love conversations because it can do that.
No, but we need to. We still need to try though. We still need to really try and engage with each other.
Yes.
And I mean, come on. I mean, even the beauty industry, like the weave, the wigs, hair, or whatever industry. Like seriously,
Why? Why are we not owning some of that?
we should be owning all of that.
For real. They can't have it without us.
There's the
There it is again.
But the thing is, again, a lot of things has happened to us, of course, from back in the slavery days and all of that, whatever. Like, a lot of things they've messed with our heads and put us against one another.
Yeah.
But we need to stop that cycle.
Yes.
We need to stop that cycle, and we need to work with one another.
Yep.
Right? We
Man.
need to like really build with one another and build with each other because, again, we're not normal. We are the Most High God's people. And I leave it at that.
I know. I love that you keep saying that. Do you have
Murder.
anything that you still thirst for in life?
Sorry?
Is there anything that you still thirst for in life?
Thirst for in life? Really and truly to build my relationship with the Most High God.
Yeah.
Yep. I have to. We all have to.
We all have to.
Yep.
Yeah, I love that.
Because I feel like if that's not if that's not strong, right? That relationship with that is not strong.
Everything else falls apart.
Yeah, big time.
That's foundational.
So that's where I'm at. I've been at for a minute now. That's where I'm at right now, for sure.
Oh man, you have been such a gift to me.
Oh,
Biggest birthday gift I could have to share this song with you. Thank you so much for inspiring me for years, inspiring so many of us. I can see why BFBG gave you a Lifetime Achievement Award.
Wow.
You have done exactly what you set out to do when you were talking that old story.
Yeah.
You manifested it, and we all are better off for it. So thank you so much. How do people reach you, Stacey?
Oh, thank you. And thank you so much, Ellie, for having me. Thank you so much for embracing me with all this love. It really means a lot. It really means a lot to me, and it means the world to me, and I really appreciate it. And and you're doing an amazing job as well. By the way, you're like such a good. The questions, I was like, you watch me later.
I love it.
The questions on it, but anyhow, it was a pleasure. And I could be reached at so on social media on the handles the real Stacey McKenzie.
Yeah.
So on Instagram, on TikTok, which I haven't posted anything on TikTok yet. I'm so bad, but I'm going to actually do some really good stuff on TikTok.
I'm going to start too.
Yes,
We'll make it a thing.
Yes, listen.
Before November 1st comes, we will have posted on TikTok.
No, I need to do it like next week. Okay, how about October 1st?
Okay, let's do it.
I have to. And so that's that. And if there's any questions in regards to the walk camp,
yes,
or for girls here in Canada, because I'm going to be having it back again in Canada in the summer 2023.
Nice.
23, yeah. So please, whatever, send like your information to thewalkcamp@gmail.com. And when it comes to anything for Walk This Way workshops, that's my modeling company where I train aspiring models and established models as well, but it's more so for new models.
Yeah.
The email for that is walkthiswayworkshops@gmail.com.
I love it.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you, Miss Stacey.
Thank you so much.
Top model, speaker, and coach.
Thank you. This is a little bit like lower right now, but thank you.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you, everybody, for watching the CockTale Hour. Can you believe who we've had here today? I'm so excited. Thank you so much. God bless you.
Big up on this up here.
Big up yourself.
Thank you so much.
And make sure you come out on October 12th to come and play some games and answer some really cool questions, right? We're going to talk the things them. That's what we like to do. Yeah. God bless everybody. Thanks for coming by. Die empty. Keep that work going, and we'll see you next time on the CockTale Hour. Thanks, everyone. Peace.
If you enjoy our programming and want to help support Black entrepreneurship, please donate today. www.businesstakeout.com/donate.